This is Susan Milner, also known as McCartney Green. It is Sunday, the 25th of January, and we just had a big ice storm come by in Georgia. We weren't hit too hard down here on the south side of Atlanta, but there's a lot of ice all over the trees. It's kind of pretty. I have not lost power, so that's awesome. Okay, we are on DND number 14, Such a Time as This, in Jesus' Name, chapter 20. They'd stayed casually sitting around the table as Billy began his story. Everyone but Cam had already heard it. Billy enhanced the telling a bit, describing his old home in Scotland and telling about his sister's personalities and making it quite humorous, though Eric knew their acidic personalities and hateful ways were not funny at all. It was sad. There was a silver lining, though, as Billy told how the dynamic in his family slowly changed. Then he went on to tell that his entire immediate family was now deceased. Billy's mother and father had passed over 40 years earlier. His sisters and their husbands had all passed within the past 20 to 30 years. He had several nieces and nephews, most whom had passed, except for 2 nieces who were now living in care homes. He did stay in touch with his grandnephews and grandnieces and his great-grandnephews and great-grandnieces. He told how he also had 2 great-great-grandnephews. Then he began to talk about his own 2 sons. He told the story of how Lewis, his younger son, was murdered at the age of 19 and how that devastated them all, but especially his older brother, Oliver. He told how Oliver decided he needed a change and came to America and met his Bonnie Caitlin. Excuse me. As Billy spoke about these people, both he and Eric watched Cam carefully to see if he recognized their names, and it didn't appear that he did. Billy went about finishing the story much in the way that he told Eric, telling how Billy himself was named after the famous Scottish warrior William Wallace and was indeed a direct descendant of William's brother, John Wallace. At that point, Cam had smiled and remarked that he and Billy had the same last name, still obviously innocent to what was being revealed. Finally, Billy came to his conclusion. So, I've told you that my son Oliver and had 3 children, and I've told you that 2 of those children returned to Scotland, and 1 broke off all ties with our family and stayed here in the U.S. We lost touch with him. We've not been able to find him. We did find out, however, that he lived in the northwest area of the country, that he married and had a son. His father, my son, Oliver, got very sick and passed away from brain cancer 10 years ago, and we tried very hard, even hired a PI to try to find Oliver's youngest son so that he could come to the funeral at the very least. We did not find him, but we did find some important information. When Billy paused, Cam spoke up. Mr. Wallace, let me just interrupt for a minute to tell you that I am so sorry for the death of your son. Billy smiled and nodded. Well, thank you so much, young man. That means a great deal to me. Billy got emotional and Cam reached out and patted his hand. I didn't mean to upset you. It just struck me that you have been through so many hard things. You've lost so many people that you love. Eric, Shelley, and Jeffy all smiled. Cam had no idea what a balm his words were for Billy Wallace. Billy smiled and patted Cam's hand, resting on his hand. You're a very thoughtful young man. I feel I must hurry and tell you the rest of this story. Cam smiled and nodded. Please, go ahead. Billy grabbed Cam's hand and squeezed it. Cam, the names of Oliver's children, my grandchildren, who came home to Scotland, are Leo and Isabel. Cam frowned. And the name of their brother, my other grandson, my long-lost grandson, is Malcolm. Cam didn't react at all. We found that Malcolm married a woman named Anna. He paused. And their son's name is Cameron. Cameron blinked hard and cleared his throat. Are you telling me that my father is your grandson? I am. And that means that you, Cameron Wallace, with the fine Scottish name, you are my great-grandson, and I am overjoyed to be in your presence and to be speaking with you and to be able to lay these old eyes on you, you who looks so much like my Oliver. Cam stood abruptly, his chair almost falling backward if Jeffy hadn't caught it. He stood staring at Billy as his eyes filled with tears. Billy quickly stood and held his arms out to the handsome boy. Cam moved forward and was embraced. The first touch of Billy's arms as they wrapped around Cameron broke the dam. Cam laid his head on the man's old shoulders, which were strong and broad. They stood crying together for several moments, and then Billy took Cam by the shoulders and set him back from him. He smiled into Cam's big blue eyes. "My, you are a fine specimen of a man, Cameron Wallace." Cam sniffed and wiped at his face. "You are too." He looked him over and smiled through his tears. I can't believe you're 98 years old. You don't seem frail or fragile in any way." "Oh, I'm not. I'm hardy and at this moment so happy." Cam put his hands on the man's shoulders. Just look at you. I mean, you're almost as tall as me." Billy nodded. "I'm 6'2" now, but I used to be 6'4". I've shrunk a bit. How tall are you?" "Well, I'm just on the short side of 6'3". Billy smiled. "Ugh, maybe you'll grow." Everyone laughed. Cam sighed and looked into the blue eyes of the man in front of him. You are my great-grandfather. You are my kin." "I haven't had anyone. Not anyone who was blood related to me in my life for a very long time." "Well, you do now, laddie. You do now." Eric smiled, his heart swelling with love as he watched the healing begin to take place, healing for both men. Cam blinked and then looked over at Jeffy. You knew?" She nodded. "Yes, but only as of yesterday." "You didn't say one thing last night." She grinned. "Well, it was hard, but I wanted Billy, or great-granddad, to have the pleasure of telling his story." Cam's eyes opened wide. "Oh, have you met Eli?" "Ah, yes. What a fine little laddie he is." "You're his great-great-grandfather." "I am, yes, dear son, and I hope you will allow me to be part of his life, at least for the short time I have left." Of course, Cam gushed. He sighed and looked over at Eric. "Grandmaster Keno has been my mentor and my foster father, I guess you could say." "Well, he obviously has done an amazing job, and just because I show up out of nowhere doesn't mean his job is over with you." Cam frowned. I had a Meritech find me phone numbers for both my mother and father. My mother actually called me back and is actually coming to visit here this coming Saturday." "But not your father?" "No. They divorced. I reached out to them both via text message. She called me back last week, and he has yet to reach out to me. She doesn't know where he is, though she asked me to give her his number." "Cam," Shelley said quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why don't you and Billy go get comfortable and sit in the back den and talk for a little bit?" Cam nodded. Oh, yes, my mind is all over the place. Yes, Granddad? I guess that's what I should call you." Billy nodded. "That sounds wonderful to me." Okay, Granddad, will you come to the den and we'll talk?" "Absolutely." Shelley smiled. "Billy, can I get you some tea?" "That would be splendid." "Cam?" Shelley asked. "I'll just grab a bottle of water." "I'll bring it to you. Go on back to the den." Billy looked at Eric. "Eric, thank you so much for this opportunity." Eric shook his head. "Oh, that wasn't me. And I know you know that. If either of you need anything, let us know." Cam nodded. "Jeffy, when Eli gets up from his nap, will you two come join us for a little bit of family time?" Jeffy smiled. "Family time. That sounds so good, doesn't it? I will be so happy to do that." She kissed Cam's cheek and watched him and Billy walk down past Eric's study to the den. Alo and Danny stood. Danny immediately started helping Shelley clear the rest of the breakfast dishes and clean up the kitchen, and Alo shook his head in wonder. "Eric, thank you so much for allowing Danny and I to be witness to that amazing reunion. It has touched my heart very deeply." "Mine too," Eric said. He shook his head. "There's so much beauty and love and healing taking place." He smiled. "Oh, and Alo, a little earlier this morning, I received a message from a man all the way over in Thailand. His name is Sakchai Chen. I called him back, and I think you're going to be very excited to hear what he had to tell me. Or are you going to make me wait or tell me now? I'll tell you a quick version now, Eric said. Oh, tell us too, Shelley, Danny, and Jeffy said at almost the same time, and Eric chuckled. Gather round. New scene. It is January 22nd, 9 a.m., Wednesday morning, the UCLA campus, Los Angeles, California. Good practice, Agent Yu-Joon Kim said with a smile as Jordan approached him after her morning practice. Jordan smiled. Thanks. That pitch is very good. Your fastball is amazing, but that changeup, oh, you have them all looking silly. Jordan grinned. Wow. Well, thank you very much. How do you know about softball, Agent Kim? My best friend from college was coach for South Korean national team. I see many games in practice. His expression changed and he stepped in front of Jordan. May I help you? Jordan looked past the agent and rolled her eyes. I came to talk to the girl. Does she know you? Agent Kim, Jordan said, this guy is Mason Cole. He's a student here at the college. The agent looked him over. Student friend or student foe? Jordan gave a soft laugh. TBD. TBD? Sorry, I don't know this TBD. To be determined, she said, and then turned to Mason. Mason, I'm pretty sure the last we spoke, I told you I didn't want to speak to you anymore. Before Mason could even answer, Agent Kim butted in. Why did you not want to speak to him? Jordan smiled at the look of irritation on Mason's face and then answered Kim's question. Oh, he has this idea that 3 isn't good enough for me. That because he can't be here with me all the time, then he doesn't care about me. And Mason here says that he's going to wait until 3 and I break up, and then he's going to be my boyfriend or something absurd like that. Agent Kim's brow furrowed as he tried to understand. He looked at Mason. Well then, sir, this sounds like obsession. I believe she already told you that she is not interested in further contact, so take off. He gestured abruptly with his thumb over his shoulder. You can't tell me what to do. I have a right to stand here if I want. Jordan laughed. Good. You stand there. We'll leave. Jordan turned to head up toward the sidewalk, and Mason made the mistake of reaching out and grabbing her wrist. Before he knew what was happening, he was on his back, moaning. Kim looked down at him. You are warned. Don't touch her. Don't even approach her. Mason rose up and watched as Jordan and her new bodyguard headed up toward the building. This new agent was not easygoing or laid back. He seemed to be even more arrogant than the others. He definitely put a damper on Mason's plans. But that's okay, because Mason was a patient guy. New scene. It is January 22nd, 12 PET, which is Peruvian time, I believe, yes. Wednesday noon. Let's see if I can say this right. Ministerio de la Iglesia de Jesus, Tarapoto, Peru. Okay. Miguel Rojas Alvarez walked quietly down the hallway carrying a tray of food. He stopped and knocked softly on the door of the one bedroom in the back of the church. Yes, yes, come in, Lev said cheerfully. Miguel opened the door and poked his head in. Brother Lev, Alan Suka, he said cheerfully in the Quechua language. Lev smiled and nodded his head. Dobry den, he answered in Russian. Miguel nodded. Dobry den, he repeated. Both men smiled and then reverted to their common language, which was English, though a bit of a broken English. Are you feeling much better? Miguel asked. Yes, thank you. I brought you some food, Miguel said as he set the tray down on a small wooden table. You are still very kind, Miguel. How can I ever thank you? You can agree to come with me. Come with you? Where are you going? Lev asked as he eyed the delicious ají de gallina, which is a stewed chicken with yellow chili. His eyes lit up. You brought my favorite. Miguel nodded. To lift your spirits. He nodded toward the plate. Eat before it gets cold. He watched as Lev quickly bowed his head, blessed the food, and picked up his fork. He smiled. Tell me, Miguel, where are you going? Miguel sighed. I had a dream last night, and now that you are well, I believe we must go to America. I saw us sitting together on a plane. I saw the flight path of the plane. It headed north into the southeast part of the United States and then turned left and headed to California. It was very clear. You and I, together. Lev chewed and swallowed and smiled at his friend. Okay. Miguel frowned. Okay? That's it? Lev grinned. Well, I too had a dream, my brother. I saw you and I standing together in front of a very beautiful home, white, with large red doors. The doors opened and the man, Eric Kino, who was standing in the doorway, smiling and inviting us in. Miguel grinned. That's an amazing dream, Lev. So it appears the Lord is telling us to go to visit this man. Now we just have to figure out how to make that happen. I already did a little research. A ticket from here to Los Angeles will cost over 5,000 sols each. Lev nodded. In his book, he states that his business is doing well and he's blessed. Perhaps he would pay our way, Lev said. Miguel sighed. It's hard to ask a stranger for money. Well, maybe we won't have to actually ask him. Let's reach out to him just to let him know that we both have had the same experience as him and see what he has to say. Miguel nodded. When would you like to make the call? Lev smiled. No time like the present. Miguel laughed. Well, finish your lunch. I have to speak to a few women who want to handle a church fundraiser. They should be here any minute, and then let's make the call. Do you have his number? Lev asked. No, but I think I can get it from my friend in the States, or he can research it for me. Okay, you go have your meeting and call your friend, and when you're ready to make the call, let me know. That sounds like a plan. A good plan. New scene. It is still January 22nd. It is 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday. Pine Forest Country Inn, Pine Forest, Georgia. Sheriff Tyson Stewart made his way up the steps of the giant front porch of the inn. He opened the door and stepped inside, and Wendy, the day manager, came to greet him. Hey, Sheriff, what brings you to the inn today? Ty sighed and frowned. I'm looking for John. Is he around? Yes, sir. I believe he's in the kitchen. Your brother just brought him a chest full of steaks. Ty nodded. Cool. Is Chaz still here? Yes, he is. You want me to go tell them that you're here, or do you just want to go on into the kitchen? Do me a favor and tell both of them that I'll be in John's office waiting to speak with them. Oh, yes, sir. It sounds like it's not good news. Ty shrugged. Well, it's hard news, but a good thing. Wendy frowned and turned to deliver the message. Ty made his way back to the inn's office and stood looking out the window. He didn't wait long before Chaz Stewart and John Apple came in. Brother, Chaz said, is everything okay? Ty nodded and shook both Chaz and John's hands. I'll get straight to the point. A hunter this past weekend out in Barnes County was out about a mile from the house where Dietz held Hannah. His dogs would not relent from one area, and he decided to dig where they were hollering. It was the remains of a person, and we just got tests back. It is Alicia Brown. Chaz and John both nodded. Well, John began, this is good. We can have a funeral and lay her to rest respectfully. It might give Hannah some closure. Yes, and there were some gloves with the body, man's gloves, and they've lifted Carl Dietz's DNA from them. Oh, so that pretty much makes the case a slam dunk, Chaz said. Ty nodded, pretty much. But Hannah will still have to testify. Well, she's getting stronger every day, John said. She'll do fine. When do you expect the trial to take place, Chaz asked. Ty sighed. Well, now that we have the body, it should take place within the next 2 months. John nodded. Good, let's get it over with. Ty sniffed the air. So is Miss Lily cooking lunch right now? Oh, no, that's our staff cooking lunch, following Lily's menus, of course. Would you like to have a bit of lunch before you leave? You know what? I would. I missed breakfast this morning. Well, why'd you miss breakfast? Did Jenny go out of town? John asked. Tyson smiled slyly. No, she's just not feeling too well right now. Oh, Ty, I'm sorry, Chaz said. Is it serious? Ty nodded with a sigh. It is. Can you talk about it? John asked. Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it until we get past the 3-month mark because she's afraid it'll jinx it. It took the men a moment, and Chaz's eyes opened wide. Really, bro? Chaz said excitedly. Finally! But I thought she couldn't have any children. Ty nodded. That's right. So it's like a miracle. John grinned. Oh man, Ty, I am so freaking happy for you. Chaz had to choke back the emotions. Bro, this is wonderful. Yeah, it really is. It's so very wonderful. Just keep us in your prayers so that she'll carry the baby all the way to term. Well, we definitely will. Man, oh man, Ty, Chaz exclaimed. I am so stoked for you. I feel like I could dance a jig. Thanks, Chaz. John slapped Ty on the back. Well, I too am stoked for you and Jenny. Ty, come on into the kitchen and let's get some lunch. Remember, guys, it's supposed to be a secret, Ty said. You can trust us, John said. Well, I mean, you can trust me. Chaz chuckled. You can trust me, too. I don't want to be blamed for blabbing it and have Jenny all mad at me. Besides, I owe sweet Jenny for saving Lisa all those years ago. Well, thanks, guys. Just think. I'm finally going to have a kid, and here I am in my late 40s. Well, you can handle it, Chaz said. I'm about to be 50 with 2 3-month-olds. And you're younger than me. If I can handle it, you'll do just fine. As a matter of fact, Ty, you're going to be an awesome father. Ty cleared his throat of emotion, and John slapped him on the back again. Let's go eat. New scene. It is still January 22nd. It is 10 a.m., Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday morning. Keno Estate, Crystal Cove, California. Billy sat listening carefully as his great-grandson and his wife together got out the story of Cam's life thus far. Billy sat in a comfy, oversized leather accent chair, leaning slightly forward, his forearms resting on his knees, his hands folded together. Cam and Jeffy sat on the beige sofa, Jeffy in the corner nursing Eli with the blanket over her shoulder, and then this little guy came into the world right after the challenge while we were at a restaurant, and we couldn't be happier, Cam said. Or at least, I didn't think I could be happier. But today is a day I'll never forget, and I am so happy to meet you, Granddad. I can't even tell you. Ah, me too, son, me too. And Cameron, the things you've accomplished, well, they are nothing short of spectacular. First, even without the support of your parents, you made good grades in school, you played sports, you played football well enough to go to play in college. But even better, you saved this little lass in the woods. You turned yourself into a man, protected this girl, and married her. Good for you. Jeffy giggled. Good for me. Billy nodded. And you're good for him. And Cameron, you are more than just a man. You are a warrior, a mighty warrior. I am so pleased, just so pleased. Well, thank you, Granddad, Grandfather, and I'm pleased too. My great-grandfather is one of the 12, and that is a mighty calling. I have so much honor and respect for Grandmaster Keno, and here you are, my own kin is like him, called personally by God's angel to do a great work. Well, son, my work is the same and yet different from Eric's. Eric is an amazing man. He has accomplished so much. He was called to teach the world, and that is exactly what he's doing in his own way. My calling has remained local, in my little corner of the world. I simply counsel people on their relationships. Well, what kind of relationship counseling, Jeffy asked, like marriage counseling? Yes, that and more, any kind of relationship. For example, if you had a problem with your mother, or if you and your siblings don't get along, or if you don't have any friends, etc. Jeffy nodded. So how is your marital relationship? He asked, a twinkle in his eye. Cam smiled. Well, we have a wonderful relationship now, but we didn't always, though I already told you about how I felt inferior. Billy nodded. And then you discovered you only needed to be a strong man with confidence. I needed to be more than that. I needed to learn to serve God first. I needed to respect myself by working hard, and I needed to be humble enough to accept Jeffy's mind superiority and work with it. And he did all those things, Jeffy added. He worked so hard and he became so strong so that I could do nothing except respect and admire him. And I discovered that having him be so strong where I knew I could depend on him to take care of me, it allowed me to relax my mind, relax and let him take over and lead. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, it is indeed. I see you have no need for relationship advice. Not between the two of you, but let's talk about your parents, Cameron, and let's think about their attitude toward you. What do you think was the problem where they had no interest in your life? Cam shook his head. Honestly, I could never figure it out. I always wondered what was wrong with me, you know? What was I doing that was so bad that they wanted nothing to do with me? It took me a long time to get up enough confidence to consider that maybe it wasn't me. Grandmaster Kino helped me to see that. Billy nodded. Well, you're right. It wasn't you. Well, Granddad, now that you tell me why my father was here in the U.S. all alone, maybe he felt abandoned himself. Only he was the one that refused to go with the family back to Scotland, and he was the one who cut off all communication, right? Billy nodded. Yes, and it broke my heart. Still, the reason a person, especially a young person just out of high school, has for cutting off ties with their families, sometimes or most times, has to do with they want to do something that they know their parents won't approve of. So Malcolm wanted to live a lifestyle unlike what his father Oliver taught him. You told me he never really mentioned God your whole life, right? Right, not one time that I can remember. So possibly our Malcolm wanted to head in another direction, and he knew his family would disapprove. That would explain why he would cut them off. But it doesn't explain why he wouldn't want to be involved in your life. It's hard for me to help explain without talking to your father himself. Well, Grandmaster Kino spoke to him a few times. Maybe he can tell you something about it. Billy nodded. Well, I'll ask him. So you have absolutely no idea where your father may be? No, but actually I can find out. If the phone number Meritech found on him is legit, I can have it traced and find him. You can do that? Oh, yes, sir. Then may I ask why you haven't? Cam sighed and nodded his head slowly. It was like I finally overcame my abandonment issues. I'm doing well, and I figured if he doesn't want to see me or meet his grandson, then I will leave that alone. No need to put myself through any more pain. Billy nodded. Well, that makes sense. Cam smiled. Though I have to say I may not have completely overcome my issues, because I didn't realize just how much I wanted to be connected to my blood kin until you were standing there in front of me telling me you were my great-grandfather. And it all came back like in a rush. Yes, I could see that, Billy said softly, and then grinned. So, then how would you feel about us hunting down Malcolm? Cam smiled. Well, with you by my side, I think it would be great fun. Billy laughed. And my mother's coming this Saturday. Will you still be here? Oh, I'll be here as long as the Lord tells me to be here, and I'm thinking it's going to be for quite a while. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Cam said, and then turned when Jeffy moaned. Uh-oh, Jeffy said. She pulled Eli from under the blanket where he'd fallen asleep and handed him to his father. What's wrong? Cam said. Cam asked. I think Desi's in labor. I need to call her. Please go ahead, Billy said. I would love to hear this firsthand. Jeffy nodded and placed the call. Hello, Dr. Jeffy, Desi said softly. How far apart are the contractions? They're 15 minutes apart, and they're getting much stronger. They started about 20 minutes apart 3 hours ago, and then went down to 15 minutes apart regularly for the last 2 hours. And I called my doctor, and she said to go ahead and call Alec, which I just did, and he's on his way home to pick me up. Good. Have you called your mom yet? No, ma'am. Okay. Be quiet for just a minute and let me read you. Jeffy closed her eyes for several seconds. Okay, sweetie. The baby is in good position, the head down. Yep. He is going to be born today for sure. You're doing great. Go ahead and call your mom and sister. I'll tell Bree, and she'll get the info texts going out to everyone, and Taylor will call in Gabe's prayer warriors, and I'll meet you at the hospital. Oh, thank you, Dr. Jeffy. I already feel so much better. Yep, no worries, sweetie. It's going to be an awesome day. She ended the call and smiled up at Billy. I'm so sorry, but I have to go. Cam rose, which means I have to go because whenever possible, I go where Jeffy goes because she's a hot commodity and needs someone to watch her six at all times. Billy nodded. Jeffy turned to Cam. I'll get Mom to watch Eli. She looked back at Billy. I'm sorry I have to rush off. I didn't say anything when I came in, Mr. Wallace, but Dad heard from another of the 12 this morning. I'm sure he wants to tell you about it. He already told the Quinns while you and Cam were visiting. Billy's eyes lit up. Oh, that is wonderful. Yes, I do want to hear about it. He shook his head. Well, now, seems there's never a dull moment around here, is there? Almost never, Cam said, and I love it. New scene. It is still January 22nd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday morning, Keno Estate, Crystal Cove, California. Danny Quinn stood on the back deck of the Keno Estate, gazing out toward the ocean. She felt so much peace and contentment, it seemed surreal. Down on the second tier of the backyard, Melody, the Keno's young helper, and Shelley stood near a giant trampoline, helping the 5 Keno children to learn how to jump safely. The children pulled their mother onto the tramp, and she lay down and they jumped all around her. Danny smiled. Such a lovely family. Her eyes traveled farther down to the beach, to another pleasant scene. 3 men, all of different nationalities, stood in a small circle. Each had a hand on the other's shoulder, and their heads were bowed in prayer. They'd been like that for several minutes. It made her heart swell to think of the power of these special men working together, asking God what he would have them do. They didn't yet know what their big purpose was, but they knew it was important. Shelley made her way up to the upper deck and stood next to Danny and gazed at the same beautiful sight. It's lovely, isn't it? Shelley said. It is, Danny said softly. It makes my heart feel like it could burst. Shelley nodded. I feel the same way. She sighed. Aren't we so blessed to be married to such wonderful men? We really are, Danny agreed. Down on the beach, all 3 men raised their heads when Eric got a call and pulled his phone from his pocket. His brow furrowed, he answered the call and put it on speaker. Grandmaster Holt, is there a problem? The man on the other end chuckled. I knew you would think that. Eric smiled. Well, I don't often get a call from the National General Manager of Keno Martial Arts, unless there is a problem. Well, I suppose you're right. We should remedy that, though I'm sure you have enough on your plate without me calling you just to shoot the breeze. I suppose you're right. So what can I do for you, sir? Actually, I'm calling to give you some information. I received a call today from someone looking to communicate with you. He's actually one of our masters at a studio in El Paso, Texas, Master Flores. He has a contact who lives in Peru, a man named Miguel Rojas Alvarez. The man asked Master Flores to reach out to you. He said that Mr. Alvarez and another man, a Russian man, have both discovered that they have had a similar experience as you had in the cave, and they would like to speak to you. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you can hear that over the speaker, but that storm is picking up big time, and that is solid ice hitting me. It's really loud. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Whew. Just make sure the roof doesn't crash in. Okay. He said that Mr. Alvarez and another man, a Russian man, have both discovered that they have had a similar experience as you had in the cave, and they would like to speak to you. Did you give them my number? Eric asked. No, sir. Instead, I got Mr. Alvarez's number and told Master Flores that I would have you reach out to Mr. Alvarez. Good. Shoot it to me in a text. Yes, sir. Jared, do you know what time it is in Peru right now, by any chance? They are 3 hours in front of you, so it is 2:11 in the afternoon. Perfect. Thank you so much, Grandmaster Holt. I appreciate your quick action on this subject. Well, it's my pleasure, sir. Have a great day. It's an awesome day, Jared. And by the way, you're doing a fine job. Oh, thank you, sir. I am in my element, so that makes it easy. Eric ended the call and smiled at Alo and Billy. Would you two like to accompany me to the study and listen in on this phone call? I'm so happy you asked, so that I didn't have to ask you. Eric chuckled. Let's go. He looked at Alo. Are you good? Oh, yes, perhaps a bit tired of standing. He chuckled. Oh, I never thought I would say that. Eric smiled and nodded. Here, take my arm. You have a ways to go before your leg muscles get strong. Billy held out his arm too, and they escorted Alo up the long set of steps to the lower deck and then up again to the house. New scene, sort of. Alo Quinn and Billy Wallace each sat in a chair in front of Eric's desk as he placed the call. They smiled as they listened to the phone ring in a place 4,000 miles away. Yanchu, Miguel answered with a question and with excitement because he didn't recognize the number and he truly hoped it was whom he thought it was. Hello, Eric said heartily. Have I reached Miguel? Oh, yes, this is Miguel. Miguel, this is Eric Kino. Praise God, Grandmaster Kino. I'm so happy to be talking to you. Well, the feeling is mutual, Miguel. I didn't recognize your greeting when you answered the phone. May I ask what language that was? Oh, yes, Ayanchu. That is how to say hello in Quechua, which is a language of some of the native people, the indigenous people of Peru. Interesting, Eric said. Is that your main language? It and Spanish, but I also speak English, though sometimes I misunderstand I think it's called slang. Yes, I understand, Eric said. Well, I also speak Spanish, so if we need to, we can change that to clear up any misunderstanding. For now, English is good, Miguel affirmed. Wonderful. And before we get started on the purpose of this conversation, I want to let you know that there are two of my newest yet dear friends sitting here with me. Will that be okay with you? Yes, because I too have a dear friend sitting with me. His name is Lev Vasilyev. He is Russian, but he speaks English even better than I do. Lev, it's nice to meet you, Eric said. You as well, Grandmaster Kino, Lev answered. And I have here Alo Quinn, who is an American Indian, an indigenous person from here in the United States. Hello, Alo, both Miguel and Lev said together. Howay, Alo said with a grin. That's hello in my native language as Quapaw. Howay, Miguel and Lev repeated. Eric chuckled. And also here with me is Billy Wallace, and he's visiting from Scotland. Hello, Billy said quickly. And that's how we say it, he added, making everyone laugh. So, Miguel, I was told that you and Lev have had a similar experience to my miraculous experience in the cave. Yes, sir, we have, Miguel said. May I ask how you came to know about my experience? Eric asked. Oh, yes, there is a man here in Peru whom I have known my whole life. His name is Albert Flores. We grew up together. He has a grandson who lives in the States, Alex Flores, who is an instructor at one of your Kino martial arts schools in Texas. Alex has recently read your book of memoirs, and he remembered a story his grandfather shared about me and thought the story was familiar. He sent a Spanish version of the book to his grandfather, who, in turn, shared it with me. I see. Well, that book has been out for a few years. I was reluctant to even publish it, but as always, God has a plan. I agree, both Miguel and Lev said. And I'm curious, Lev, Eric began. You said you are from Russia. That's a long way from Peru. How did you meet Miguel? Well, Lev began, that's actually quite a story. I have time if you do, Eric prodded. Let me see if I can shorten it a bit, Lev paused. Okay. Well, I lived in Abakan, Russia. It was quite a difficult life. I lost everyone in my family. My parents died a long time ago, when they were close to my current age. Well, Lev, may I ask how old you are? Eric interrupted. Oh, yes, I'm 75. Awesome, thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting, just getting some perspective. Please go ahead. Lev gave a soft laugh. No worries. My father died of lung cancer. My mother died of heart disease. I had 2 older brothers. We all came of age in the late 60s, early 70s during the Cold War with the U.S. Russia also invaded Czechoslovakia around that time, and my brothers both died before the age of 22 in that war. I'm so sorry, Eric said softly. Lev drew a breath. Thank you. I, on the other hand, went to work for the Russian government. I had certain skills that my father had taught me. Survival skills, both wilderness survival and urban survival. And how did your father know these skills? Billy asked. Lev sighed. My grandfather taught him. He thought he was passing on his skills and knowledge for the good of his son. But because of those skills, my father got sucked into the KGB. He had no way out that he could see other than death or the death of his kids. Though it didn't save my brothers after all, did it? He stopped and drew a deep breath. So I taught survival skills to Soviet agents and soldiers from the 1970s to 1991, and then the KGB ended with the fall of the Soviet Union. but the FSB took over, with Putin at the head. I was released from my position. All during the years that I taught, I tried to also teach about Jesus, and it was difficult. Religion seemed to be just a status act for most of the people where I lived. I tried to help them to see that it wasn't a religion. They didn't have to go to the big fancy church. They simply needed to build a relationship with Christ because he was indeed real. Once I was released from my civic duty, I began to teach this full time. I was 40 years old. Teaching about Jesus was how I met my wife, my beautiful and sweet Tatiana. She was 25 and so full of life and a little bit of mischief. We had 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. And we were happy. Life was happy. We had our own little congregation. We would meet up in the hills near my family home, the home I grew up in. This went on for almost 20 years until I was 60, but then someone wasn't happy about me teaching Christianity. I actually think it was the bishop of the Orthodox Church. I guess he didn't want me drawing people away from his diocese. He reported me to the FSB as a traitor. He told them I was pretending to teach about Christ, but was instead teaching guerrilla warfare to the young people of our country. And they came after me. I was put in prison for several years. When I got out, I was 70, and I got out to a nightmare. He cleared his throat. I found that in my absence, my family had been constantly harassed. My daughter, only 18 when I was imprisoned, was raped by 2 polizia. Her brothers sought out the officers that did this and killed one of them. All 3 of my boys were put on trial and sentenced to life in prison. There is no death penalty, but my boys all died in knife fights inside the prison, one at a time. And this caused my daughter, little Marina, to feel such loneliness and despair that she walked in front of a train and died. And when I got out, I found my beautiful Tatiana in such a state, thin and sick and heartbroken. She told me she tried to pray, to talk to God. She didn't give up. She was dying. Her frail body was giving out, and on her deathbed, she told that the polizia told her that when I got out of prison, they were going to hunt me down and put me to death, and she begged me to leave. Of course, I couldn't leave her. I wanted to go to God with her, but she begged me to promise her. I withheld that promise for several weeks, but it was her dying wish, and I finally promised her that I would leave Russia. The day she was put in the ground, I made arrangements and flew to the state of Acre in Brazil. My father had a place there in the wilderness of the Amazonian rainforest. But when I got there, I heard that there had been men looking for me. So I gathered all my survival tools and packs and headed into the Amazon. And I lived along the Amazon River for the past 4 years. It was a lonely time, no human contact, but a time when I drew very close to the Lord. It was as if he was walking beside me. He stopped and smiled. Actually, though, I did have human contact, just not face-to-face, except for one little guy. He stopped talking. Lev, are you still there? Eric asked. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. My mind went back to that time, and then I realized I said it would be a short version. Well, you can't stop there, Alo encouraged. I agree, Eric said. Tell us about the little guy. Lev laughed. I came into contact with what they call the uncontacted. Oh, you mean like an Amazon uncontacted tribe? Eric verified. Yes, though I really didn't come into contact with them face to face. When I realized they were in the area, I would leave them some gifts, a string of fish, some fruit. They began to leave me things, a basket, some eagle feathers, a stick, which I think was a digging tool. I didn't attempt to make contact because that would only endanger them. But one day I was fishing near some rapids and I heard yelling. It was a child in the water yelling at me. I tossed my pole onto the shore behind me and dove into the water. And God was with me that day. I was able to swim fast enough to grab the child who was being swept downstream, find my footing. I half walk, half swim to the bank. He was obviously one of the tribe, and he was jabbering away at me. Through gestures, I got him to understand that I wanted to get him back to his people. He actually took my hand, and we half walked, half ran through the forest. That was hard. Remember, he was a little boy with loads of energy, and I was a 74-year-old man. And when we got to what I think were lookouts, he ran ahead of me. One of them bent and scooped the boy up. He pointed back at me. I gave them a nod of my head and a slight bow, and I turned and left quickly. I didn't see them again, but the gifts flowed in. Fish, baskets, pots, tools, fruit, jewelry made from teeth and feathers. He stopped inside. And then one fateful day, again, I was fishing the rapids. I was standing at the edge of a very high fall, and again I heard shouting and yelling, but this time it was men, and they were yelling in Russian. I quickly tossed my pole to the side and dove into the water. I stayed under by skimming the surface and taking breaths until I thought they were gone. I slowly raised up. I didn't see them anywhere. I was worried about the tribe, and I glanced around to make sure I saw no sign of them. I went to the edge of the fall to look down to make sure they weren't gathered around at the pool, and one shot rang out. I guess I moved at just the right time, and it hit me in the shoulder. I knew they wouldn't be satisfied with that, so I held my hands over my upper abdomen and pretended to die, throwing myself over the fall. The next thing I knew, I was on a travois. Travois. That's how you say it. I was on a travois, being dragged through the forest. There was a poultice covered with leaves on my shoulder, and I was burning up with fever. This seemed to go on for days, but I'm not sure. I lost track of time. At one point, only 2 of the tribe pulled me through an opening and left me near a small village. One of them approached the village and spoke with a modern man who came out and looked me over. That man and one other dragged me into the village, and the next morning 4 men took me on another journey, and we emerged near a modern town. I was then loaded into the back of a truck and transported to a city, and then to this very church where I am as we speak. Miguel is the pastor of this fine church, and he has given me his bed and nursed me back to health, and I guess that is about as short as I can make the story. There was a few moments of silence before anyone spoke. Well, Lev, Eric began. My heart and spirit hurt for you and the pain you've endured in your life, but my warrior self cheers for you for what you've overcome and not given up and are still pressing on. Oh, thank you, Grandmaster Kino. I will continue to serve the Lord the best I can until he takes me, and I am very much looking forward to seeing my Tatiana again, and sweet Marina, and Mark, and Danielle, and David. Oh, those are the names of your children, Billy asked. Yes, sir. Eric smiled. He, too, will feel much joy for Lev when he's reunited with his family. So, Miguel and Lev, Eric began, you say you both have had a similar experience as what I described in my memoirs? Yes, we did, Miguel said. Well, I want to hear the stories if you don't mind sharing. We don't mind at all, Miguel said. Would you allow me to record them as you tell them? Record? Yes, you see, it has recently been shown to me that I was not the only one whom, at 10 years of age, went missing for 3 days and had an angel come and speak to me. The Lord has shown me that there are 12, and you, Miguel and Lev, are number 10 and 11. Oh, Pa, Lev said. The 2 men here with me, Alo and Billy, they too have had a similar experience, Eric explained. And because there are so many, I have begun recording the stories and am having them transcribed so that each of you can read the stories of the others. Oh, eso, maravilloso, Miguel uttered in Spanish. That is wonderful. So, Miguel, where were you living and who did you live with when your experience happened, Eric said, just to get him talking. I was here in Tarapoto, Miguel began. I too am 75, so it was 65 years ago. My grandparents were Catholics, but my own parents felt moved to strike out on their own. They still worshipped, but they felt they were being led in a closer relationship with God through their own interpretations of the gospel. This opened my mind to thinking that God can speak to us in many ways. And I've always been thankful that my parents were seeking God and a relationship with him rather than just attending a church and doing what they thought must be done to achieve their own salvation. They wanted to serve God, to interact with him, and that has been so helpful to me in my journey with God. Eric, Billy, Alo, and Lev listened quietly as Miguel told his story. At the story's end, no one was ashamed of the tears they shed. It was a beautiful and poignant story. They weren't tired of the storytelling when it became Lev's turn. They listened intently to his story as well. The stories were different. Miguel's happening in the mountains of Peru, and Lev's happening traveling on the Trans-Siberian Railway. Well then, Eric said softly when Lev finished his telling, Those are amazing stories. How beautiful and amazing. And of course, it makes me wonder, what does the Lord have in store for us? How are we going to be able to serve him, the 12 of us together? I'm so intrigued. We have been honed in the fire, though some of the fires have been much hotter than others. How I would love to meet you two in person, as I've met Billy and Alo and Ronald. When we are standing together and praying, it's very surreal, powerful. And I have a strong feeling that the 12 of us are supposed to gather together. Aye, that's why I traveled from Scotland a few days ago. I knew I was supposed to be here, Billy said. Alo smiled and nodded, and Eric cleared his throat. I don't suppose you two, Miguel and Lev, would be interested in taking an extended trip? Miguel smiled and Lev winked at him. Oh, we were actually thinking along those lines, Miguel said, only we don't have the means. My little church here is struggling to keep her doors open, and Lev, of course, presumed dead, has no access to his bank accounts. Well, the expense will be completely covered, Eric immediately assured. Well, that is generous of you, Miguel said quickly. Honestly, we were hoping for that offer, but still, there might be other problems. For example, Lev cannot travel on his own passport, for it will be flagged. Eric nodded. I think we can handle that, either with a pseudo passport and maybe even a private jet ride, or both. That would be quite expensive, Lev said. The expense involved is inconsequential. Please don't give it another thought. The Lord has blessed us and will continue to do so as long as I use those blessings to do his work. I feel strongly that I'm supposed to do whatever it takes to make this happen ASAP. When will you be able to travel? Eric asked. Well, Miguel began. If a car drove up right now and told us to get in, we'd be in that car. Eric chuckled. Oh, I like the way you think. Good. So here's a preliminary plan. Handle who will take care of the church while you are gone. Do you have an assistant pastor? Yes, I do. Good. So make arrangements to go on an extended vacation. Pack your bags. I will wire you money, Miguel, to handle anything the church needs in your absence. So figure out a ballpark figure and let me know. Ballpark figure? Oh, that means a rough estimate. I will make inquiries about the best way to transport you and get back to you. Lev, are you healthy enough to travel? Yes, though still a little weak. Well, when I get you here, my daughter will fix you up. Until then, go slow and don't push it. He didn't wait for an answer. Now, after you do all of this, take time to read the other stories, which I will be sending you in just a few minutes. I am very much looking forward to our meeting. Us too, Miguel said, very much. Truly, it feels like a whirlwind, like everything happens so fast. Eric smiled and Alo chuckled. That's how he works, Alo said quickly. I think his motto is no time like the present. Eric nodded. One of many mottos I have. And now that we have a plan of bringing 2 more here to the States, Alo and Billy, I certainly hope you 2 will stick around. Oh, you couldn't force me away, Billy said. Eric sighed. And I just had the Lord put something else on my heart. I'm going to reach out to the others we know of. Cess Iman in Australia and Henrik Johansson in Norway. Sakchai Chen is in Thailand. And Thomas Sawyer, who's currently in Georgia. I'm going to reach out and see if they might consider a little get-together. And, of course, Ronald Clark, who's right here near me in California. And there is another, Andrew Masani, who is already planning to come here next week. He's coming from Uganda. Yes, I think I'll set this all in motion as soon as I get your travel plans together, Miguel and Lev. So that means we would have 11 out of 12, Lev said. Do you know who the 12th man is, Grandmaster Kino? No, not yet, but at this rate, we might know very soon. Oh, this is all very exciting, Miguel said. I agree. Okay, let's have a prayer and get to work, Eric said. The 5 men all bowed their heads. Habakkuk 2, chapter 2, verse 3. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. And that is the end of chapter 20. I hope you're all safe and having an awesome day. And I will hopefully get another chapter in maybe sometime today. The end.